Welcome back to another episode of the Kicksmart Pigeon, the podcast. Well, I decided to revisit Unreal Tournament. I visited this game off and on over the years. Why not? It's a very awesome game. This is the Game of the Year 1999 edition running on VMware Player. Playing this game brings back a lot of memories. Voodoo memories. This game was installed on my dad's PC. This PC had an AMD K62 processor running at 415 MHz with 64 MB of RAM and a 3DFX Voodoo 2 accelerator paired alongside a Cirrus Logic SVGA adapter. Once upon a time, a 3D accelerator had to be paired alongside an SVGA adapter. The reason for this was that 3D accelerators like the 3DFX Voodoo series wasn't capable of 2D drawing operations, plus an SVGA adapter was still needed to provide the core video display. Some early adapters, like the ATI All-in-Wonder and the NVIDIA TNT2 Riva adapter, combine both. However, the 2D operations of these cards are generally poor quality when compared to the dedicated SVGA adapters. Cards like the S3 Verge had both a 3D accelerator alongside an SVGA adapter combined in one. However, the Verge had a proprietary graphics API, which most game developers shunned in favor of Glide, the 3D API in the 3DFX Voodoo. The 3DFX supported OpenGL as well. Most that on the S3 Verge used it as an SVGA adapter. This game is still loads of fun. I played with bots though because we didn't have internet back at the time. Even if we did, playing Unreal on dial-up would have been a very painful experience. Yes, there was a time before high-speed internet was a thing. In fact, there was a time where the internet in general wasn't an everyday thing. Eventually, I got a laptop as a gift from my sister and her husband. It was a Toshiba Protege 320 CT. That laptop had an Intel Celeron processor running at 266 MHz, 64 MB of RAM, Chipsen Technologies SVGA adapter with 2 MB of video memory. Yes, I played Unreal on this setup as well. The appeal of Unreal is that it could run on various configurations. Granted, on a machine that lacked 3D acceleration, major sacrifices were made. In the days before 3D acceleration was taken for granted, many of us mere mortals would play Unreal in software rendering at low resolutions. On that particular setup, the game ran in software rendering at 512 by 384 while maintaining around 15 to 20 frames per second. Despite the somewhat painful performance, it was still all fun regardless. I don't miss software rendering or Pentium Celerons though. Those things are beyond crap. We don't have to relive those memories of software rendering with our modern PCs. The configuration program for Unreal running under VMware detected the nGlide video wrapper that was installed after setting up the OS and virtual machine. The game screams voodoo as I get my rear end handed to me on a constant basis. Getting killed on a regular basis is going to be a common theme for these videos. Even going into the late 2000s, there was still a large and dedicated fan base for Unreal as many operated deathmatch servers and started to reap the benefits of high-speed internet. Servers that became home for many when this proliferation occurred. By the late 2000s, we had AT&T SBC Roadrunner. By that point, I had a PC with an AMD Athlon XP processor running at 1.5 GHz, along with 1.2 GB of RAM and an NVIDIA GeForce accelerator with 128 MB of memory. Not surprisingly, Unreal ran great under this setup. Before high-speed internet, the only way one could fulfill their thirst for blood was blasting away mindless bots with plasma rifles, which was still loads of fun. I don't miss it. I have the game running under VMware Player. The virtual machine has 2 GB of RAM, 3D acceleration enabled provided via the guest editions, and is running Windows 7 32-bit as a guest OS. The nGlide video wrapper is installed as well. I like to keep my nostalgic games confined within their own self-contained environments. Self-contained environments where these setups are quarantined, so to say. The one who plays Unreal is dealing with a virus, a disease, a virus that can only be contained with a plasma rifle. In many cases, virtualization isn't always possible depending on the game. However, in this case, it works, and it works well too. I have the screen resolution set to how gamers back in the day when I've played Unreal using the Voodoo 2. I recently ran across an article on the Gaming on Linux website detailing the sad case of Unreal on Linux in 2020. I'll be honest, between Quake 3 and Unreal, Unreal is the better game. The multiplayer aspect was much more involving than Q3 in my opinion. However, when the source code for Q3 was released, the game would be given a new lease of life and live on in various spin-offs, ports, and variations running on different OSs and devices. Unless there will be a similar move in the future, Unreal will be confined to the forgotten realm of digital purgatory. Unreal has to be patched in order for it to run on newer platforms. For Windows, which maintains backward compatibility, this really isn't an issue. I've played around with Windows 10 plenty since the beginning of last year, and I can attest that 10 has very good compatibility with older applications. Most desktop computers sold in the last 8 to 10 years have support for virtualization as well. So VMware and VirtualBox are options on both Linux and Windows. Both have support for virtualized 3D acceleration as supported via your host adapter, which acts as a pass-through for the virtual machine. On my PC, this will be provided by NVIDIA GTX 950 with 2GB of video memory. Linux gamers will have a hard time running this game though. Despite that, there are plenty of options. As shown in the video, one could run Unreal in a virtual machine. One has a choice between VMware Player or VirtualBox. I don't have that much experience with VirtualBox, and 3D accelerated applications and games tend to run better under VMware anyway. When it comes to virtualization, most new laptops man the past couple years do support it. However, for me, especially those with older laptops, virtual machines aren't always an option. Well, I think I'm going to wrap it up here now. I will continue this on the next video. If you like this video, please like and subscribe.